Reading from Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. Somehow it's a digital copy. I can't tell if it's chapter 4 or 5, but text 72. What? 4. Can everybody see me? What, you see me too. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sevā-saubhāgya-hetoś mahā-prabhu-kṛto mahān anugraho mayi snigdhair bhavadbhir anumīyate. You are very kind to me because I had the good fortune to engage in his service. You conclude that the Lord has given me his favor. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksur Unbalatam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantika Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasade Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So greetings from the Govardhan Hilton. I really wanted to name my ashram the Govardhan Hilton, but then I thought I should not let my sense of humor become more important than the spiritual aspect. But we really have a nice ashram here. And at least 5 of the Sanga members, Karunapurna, Jalkali, Rajadevi, Hemalatarad, and Shyam Kishore, are here. We just had Damodar Astakam. Now that we installed this beautiful Giriraj Shila, it's really given life to this place. As long as people here, then I give class. Normally I'm giving on the 7th chapter, but I'm continuing this class here. And it's Narada's journey, and it's progressive. Prabhupada calls the different relationships, they're all perfect, but the more intimate relationship, there's more freedom. Because when there's reverence, you're restricted by obligation, duty, and fear. And that's part of your love. Like if you have a very respectable father, your fear, of doing something wrong, or your obligations, it's part of the bhav. It's not external to the bhav. But somehow or other, it doesn't have as much force when the object of your love is not majestic. It's when it's madhurya rather than aishvarya. But anyway, we're getting this very interesting summary of the Bhagavatam, and it's mentioned in the very beginning that that's what this is. It's Maharaj Pricket at the end of his life to his mother, summarizing the Bhagavatam. But because he has realization, and my Monday morning greeting coming out tomorrow is called What Makes Prabhupada Prabhupada. And I tell a story how I got this idea, and for me, it's his realization. And then I quote from the first canto, the fourth chapter, the first verse, where Prabhupada says realization is the ability to communicate. And why realization is the ability to communicate? Because to communicate, you have to reshape the message that you're giving according to the way in which your audience understands language and concepts. They're just like there are different languages. If you learned it in English and then you go to South America, it has to be in the shape of Spanish. But it's the same thing within a language. Different people understand things in different ways. So to do that without losing the message, it takes a not just understanding the truth, to see the truth, to see it deeply. So Maharaj Prickett, of course, had that realization and reshapes the Bhagavatam according to the confines of time that he had. Because the Bhagavatam is spoken in 7 days, and he only has the last half of the 7th day. So he has to reshape it according to time. And also, when things are spoken and inspired, they solve many issues too, because it's a book to be carried on. That's what Sanatana Goswami is doing. It's to present. It's just like when the sage of Naimisharanya asked the question, now that Krishna left the planet. He said, tell us the absolute, one of their questions was, tell us the absolute and ultimate good. Buri, Burini, Karmani. Because when you get to the Vedas, Buri, Burini, Karmani, there's just so many different prescriptions for so many different people. And then he's saying, but in this age, people don't have time to undergo the purification. They don't have the qualification to understand it. So tell us what the ultimate and absolute good is. So the Bhagavatam itself is Vyasadeva is known for his realization, which he takes the Bhagavatam and he's looking at the audience and he's trying to shape it for the audience. So the first thing he does, Brother Dave, you a little ill. Would you like to sit on a chair? You'd be more comfortable. Okay. Yeah.
You can move my back.
Yeah, because you were a little sick today. Okay. Okay. So he had to continually reshape it. First, he reshaped it by breaking it into 4 parts, categorizing it. Then he reshaped it by expressing it in story form, the Mahabharata. Then he reshaped it by codifying it in terms of sutras. And he was dissatisfied because he was losing the message. He was losing the message. Vedais jasarveham eva vedyo vedanta vid veda vid evacham. Of all the Vedas, I am to be known. So he was losing the message. And therefore, he was dissatisfied. Why was he dissatisfied? Because he was losing something. So, Bhakti Yogena Manasi Samyak Pranayate Malay Pashet Purusham Purnam Maya Chatara Pasayami. he fixed his mind in bhakti yoga, and then he actually saw the truth, realized the truth, and was able to explain it. So the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta is like that. It's this realization, first by Maharaj Parikshit, then by Sanatana Goswami, how to present it. And he presents the Bhagavatam in a story of Narada Muni searching for the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy. And therefore, in that journey, going through all the levels of devotion that's found in the Bhagavatam, and ultimately getting to the 10th canto, or the Ashraya, the ultimate. So in that journey, he was guided to Bṛhad, who went to Hanuman, because Bṛhad is an appreciator, but he's remembering. But somehow Hanuman has this mood of service. And when it's described what his mood of service is, it's not that he's just giving the fruits of his activities. Every one of his senses is just focused on the pleasure of Ram. He's just, and it's so beautiful because you see the beauty of this level of devotion, how sweet it is when someone's not selfish, when someone lives for another who's worthy. It's such a beautiful thing. And then we have this other theme that keeps on coming up, that when Narada goes to someone and praises them, it doesn't suit their objective of this seva-bhav. They don't want to be in the, they don't want to be in the center. They want to serve the center. And it's a bhava, it's a mood. It's just so sweet. And they don't want anything. They don't want the false ego, which is always lurking in the back, wanting to appropriate even the good things we do in its service. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm a Brahmin, I'm a sannyasi, I'm a scholar, I'm a sadhaka. It's always waiting it wants to be fed. And someone who actually has realization of Krishna consciousness and has that bhava, that mood, that feeling of devotion, it's like, I'm not going there. I'm not interested. I remember it really struck me. I told you, in the early days of Vrindavan, you go to Mangal Arti, it's like 15, 20 people. It was like completely sparse. And because there weren't that many people here. And I remember being in one Mangal Artik, and someone turned around and said, there's Krishna-das Babaji, Prabhupada's godbrother, who he said was a Paramahamsa. And, and he was by Prabhupada's murti like this. And so there's Krishna-das Babaji. He went out. Yeah, he went out. So now Hanuman being praised in so many ways, he's neglecting that he really is an object of Krishna's, the topmost object of Krishna's mercy. But he does admit a very beautiful thing that does make one an object of Krishna's mercy: sevā-saubhāgya, the good fortune of service. And this is also a theme in the Bhagavatam, that what's fortunate is to get service. And our faith is what's fortunate is to be served. But this says our fortune is to serve. That's our fortune. And many people don't realize that. Because the advertising, the culture in the modern world is you can be beautiful, you can be famous, you can be rich, you can have opulences to control the world and enjoy it. There's no billboards and advertising, you know, drive this car and you could serve your guru. Get this car and you also can just serve everyone and drive them around. You can be the humble servant of everyone, right? The advertisement, Budrum, and that's when the cowherd boys, when they went to the wives of the Brahmins and begging for food, they said, Badram te, to you, this is auspicious. I used to have the service in Vrindavan, among many things, is I was in charge of all the kitchens. I was in charge of the kitchen. And there was a time after Prabhupada left that, some of the, naturally, the new gurus were 28 years old, maybe someone was 30 years old. They were devotees for 7 years. And now they've been worshipped on the level of Prabhupada. And not only that, by Prabhupada's potency, he was lifting people up to a level of renunciation that they weren't qualified for. So when he left, also it's the greatness of Prabhupada is that there was chaos after him. It's just like in sports, if like a great player leaves, we have here the very proud winners of the World Cup here, my Argentinian disciples. When Messi goes, they're not going to win the World Cup. They're not going to win it. And that's going to be his greatness. You know what I'm saying? When you lose someone, so when Prabhupada, when it says the Acharya goes, his glory is that there's chaos. It's just not this, so what happened at one time, some of the Acharyas left, and everybody was in temples before that, but all of a sudden people were free, and they were flocking to Vrindavan for shelter. No one was going to Vrindavan in the whole Hare Krishna movement, except if your temple president allowed you to go during the Gaur Purnima festival. That was it. Otherwise, it was desolate. So all of a sudden, all these people were here, and they were coming for Prabhupada's disappearance and Govardhan Puja. And there were thousands of devotees, and there wasn't even a prasad room. There wasn't even a prasad room. It was like, the prasad room was for like 100 people. So it was and even the temple, you couldn't fit everybody in the temple. And I was supervising tremendous feasts. We were making incredible feasts. But I noticed when it was time for the feast, there was 2 classes of devotees. One who would fight to sit in the front. So when the cheese sabji comes up, they would harass the server to pull out all the cheese for them, even if the people at the end only got stuck with the aloo and gobi. And those who wanted to serve. Those who wanted to serve. The faith in that's the whole Krishna consciousness. Pradyumna Prabhu, my dear godbrother, gave that definition of bhakti: available for service. Available for service. So he says, he said, okay, I did have good fortune for the reason of hetu, sevā-saubhāgya-hetoś, for the reason of service. For the reason of service. So I grant you that. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to, as he's speaking to Narada Muni. Narada Muni went to Bṛhad directed him. He says, I'll grant you that. I got some credit for that, but I had the good fortune to engage in service. You conclude that the Lord has given me favor. And certainly that's favor. That's favor. So next verse. Sudhuna matura puryam avitir nena tena hi padushkrita najaishvarya parakashta vibhutina kritsya nugrahasyamsam pandaveshu mahatmasu tuliyaharti no gatum sumerum Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. So now he says, Aduna, but now, avatirnena, he is descended in Mathura-puryam, the place of Mathura. Now he's descended. You're saying I'm fortunate. Now he's descended to Mathura, where he displays parakashta, the ultimate extreme of nija aishvarya, of his personal opulences, and vibhutina, and his expanded energies. Now he's descended to Mathurapura. That's where he is now. So he's saying, and all the mercy he has shown me cannot equal a speck of the mercy he has shown the saintly Pandavas, any more than a molecule of earth can equal Mount Sumeru. Kritasya anugrahasya, he has shown me the mercy, amsam, a small fraction of the Mahatmasu Pandavas, Tulia, in comparison to them. I'm nothing. And of course, it's going to be described. Because Hanuman's saying, okay, I'm doing service, I'm in separation. But the Pandavas, they had such personal exchanges. The symptoms of prema is the desire to meet, serve, and have a relationship with God. 3 symptoms: meet, serve, and so look at this. So I'm nothing compared to them. Commentary: out of respect for the great sage, Hanuman finally acknowledges that what Narada said about Lord Ramachandra's favor him cannot be false. Lord Rama's order that Hanuman stay in this world in separation from him seemed cruel, but at least before that order, the Lord had allowed Hanuman to serve him in various ways. It is only because of soft-heartedness, Hanuman says, that Narada considered him a favored devotee of the Lord. Hanuman thinks if Narada's judgment was less emotional, Narada would have concluded differently. So he's saying he's from the heart, Narada. And you tend to, when you're really a devotee, you tend to see everybody serving Krishna better than you. You see everybody serving Krishna because you're in a bhav and a mood, and it's a mood of humility. You're so cognizant that everything is God, So you so much appreciate everybody serving Krishna. So he says like that. Like every other Vaishnav whom Narada has approached, Hanuman wants to divert the sage's glorification to someone else. As the object of this diversion, he chooses the Pandavas. Hanuman compares the Lord's mercy on them to a huge golden mountain, Sumeru, and the Lord's mercy on him to a speck of dust. So yesham balyatas tad vishad yapad ganeranat dharyam dharmam yasho jnanam bhaktim prema yadarshayat. So by sending poison and many other calamities, one after another, to trouble the Pandavas from their childhood, the Lord deliberately showed their determination, religion, fame, wisdom, devotion, ecstatic love. He showed their dharyam, utsayat nistyat dharyam. It's so important in bhakti, patience. And why is patience so important? Because you will wait for something that is valuable, right? If you're buying something and it's like a long line, right? And it's nothing. Okay, I'll go here. I'm just getting a newspaper. But if it's like a ticket to a concert, or you camp out for like 3 days, for a week. So bhakti is like that. It's so valuable that you're patient. You're patient. I can wait. Because to earn it, it's something so special. And that's the story of Lord Chaitanya Mukunda, who he banned from his association. And the devotees were very upset because Mukunda was such a sweet, humble person. And he was listening to Mayavadi philosophy. He just was like a sentimental guy. He got confused. And they were brokenhearted. And finally, Mukunda said, at least ask him, when will I see him again? Lord Chaitanya was angry. He said, he won't see me for 1,000,000 births. And when Mukunda heard that, he said, I will. He became ecstatic. Why? Because he felt he had so much regard for the Lord that he felt that that was a bargain. And when Lord Chaitanya heard that, he realized, he just forgave him. He realized this person really has. So Dharyam, Dharmam. So he did this, it said the Lord, to show their glories. And then there's that statement that the mother teaches the daughter-in-law. The daughter-in-law comes in the Indian system of marriage. The daughter goes to the husband's house. So the mother doesn't have a relationship with the daughter-in-law. But she wants to teach her what are the rules. So she's strict on her daughter to show. So it's the same thing here. He's showing their determination, their religion, their fame, their wisdom, their ecstatic love. He demonstrated. And this is also something that's, I wrote a lot of, I wrote several articles on arguments for the existence of God. And the most difficult challenge to the existence of God is the existence of evil. Because the qualities of God is that he must be omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent. So they said, well, if there's evil, then he's either not omnipotent because he can't do anything about it, or He can do something about it, but he doesn't know, but then he's not omniscient. Or if he knows and he can do something about it, but doesn't, then he's not omnibenevolent, then he's not kind. So it's a good argument. But I dealt with that argument. I gave 6 or 7 counters to that argument or something like that. And I also made the point that a good argument doesn't prove something. For example, there's a court case, and someone's accused of murder, and his fingerprints are on the gun. He had a motive to do it, right? So there may be a lot, but the guy didn't do it. He just picked up the gun by accident, and there was another person who also was inimical that did it. So just because there's a good argument, it doesn't prove something. There could be a better argument against it. And I think the argument for evil against, it's a good argument, but there's better arguments for the existence of God. And one thing I caution people to look at is to understand what is mercy from the vision of God. From the vision of God, what is mercy are the things that elevate your consciousness, not the things that make you the enjoyer and controller. I read somebody complain they got injured, and they said, well, how can there be God? I got injured. And I got injured at like the worst time. It was my last game in my career. I was supposed to be on. How can there be God? Because they think that's mercy. But maybe mercy is you do break your leg and become humble. Because elevation of consciousness is worth any trouble you undergo to get it. That's what Bhishma Dev told Yudhisthira when Yudhisthira had so much suffering. That was his basic message. The fruit of realization that elevates your consciousness is worth any difficulty you undergone to get it. So, and this is what Hanuman is saying, they're so great. Look at all the difficulties they had. And how God wanted to glorify them. Commentary, as the invisible supersoul, Lord Krishna arranged for the Pandavas to undergo many troubles. He did this, however, only to broadcast their glories forever throughout the world. The Lord's pure devotees never perish, and what seems to be their suffering in this world is only for their benefit and glorification. Benefit and glorification. Just something struck my mind. The Lord's devotees never perish. Kontiha pratajanahi name bhakta Krishna. Declare it boldly, my devotees never perish. Just it's a little bit off tangent, but it's one time in the Krishna-katha Mandir, we had Prabhupada's godbrother Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Maharaj come to speak. And he was probably the godbrother that was most favorable for Prabhupada. He also had that preaching mood, and he really appreciated Prabhupada. And so after the class, we brought him up. There's 2 rooms to the side of the deities in the Krishna-katha Mandir. And it's a little room. Somehow it's constructed that way. You go up a little, and we fed him prasadam, and it was so nice to see this old Vaishnava, take the mahā-prasadam. So I complimented him on his class. I said, I was really just like Prabhupada would speak, these basic, powerful points. And then I think he said, when your Guru Maharaj would speak, hearts would melt. Then I said, did you hear that Krishna consciousness is spreading in the Soviet Union and Russia? Because it was just a new thing. And he said, yes. He said, it must be true. He said, because your Guru Maharaj, because Prabhupada said it would spread in those countries. And then he said, Kontia Prachajana Hi Name Bhakta Pranashit. Declare it, my devotees never perish, and that also means their words. That's what he said. It also means their words. So, Saratyam Parshadat Tvam Cha Sevanam Mantri Dutate Virasana Nugamane Chakre Stuti Natir Api. He acted as their servant, advisor, messenger, charioteer, and court attendant. He kept watch for them at night, followed them on processions, and even offered them praises and obeisances. So, when you love someone, you serve them, and service puts you in a subordinate position. So the subordinate position is actually the position of love and the greatest pleasure. So God takes that position with those he loves. He's Bhakti Vatsala. He loves the devotees. And in fact, that's what a person is. A person is one who reciprocates love. So God cannot be the supreme personality of Godhead unless he takes a subordinate position to his devotees. And therefore, in the first place, we see Krishna in our two main books, the Bhagavad Gita spoken by Krishna and the Bhagavatam about Krishna. In both those books, the first place we see Krishna is on the chariot of Arjuna. He's serving him to indicate that the supremacy of God is that he's not the supreme, it's not his position, it's his personality. He's loving, and therefore he serves his devotees. So he acted as their servant, advisor, messenger, charioteer, court attendant. He kept watch for them at night, followed them on processions, and offered them praise and obeisances. He served. Commentary, not only did Lord Krishna look after the Pandavas as the invisible supersoul, but he also dealt with them in various public exchanges of love. Sometimes he drove Arjuna's chariot. In Yudhisthira's court, he sat at the head of the assembly of advisors. Like an intimate servant, he anticipated the Pandavas' wishes. And at the Rajasuya sacrifice, he humbly washed the feet of every guest. He gave personal counsel to Yudhisthira and carried messages for him. On occasion, he would stand guard all night with sword in hand, and he would follow Yudhisthira in procession and offer words of praise like an ordinary subordinate. All the Vaishnavas take delight in hearing the glories of the Pandavas, but one who has a special relationship with the Pandavas, like their grandson Parikshit, spontaneously feels ecstasy from such hearing. As Sutta Goswami describes in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 1:16-16, Saratya Parshada Saratya Parshada sevā-saubhāgya. Saratya Parshada sevana sakya dautya virasana gamana stavana pranamam snigdhaishu pandushu jagat pranitam cha vishnur bhaktim karoti nipatis charnar bhavindam. So this is the bhav. When Krishna, is with his threefold bending form, it's not just that the devotees love him, he loves the devotees. Because if the supreme pleasure is love, and that's God's pleasure potency, then he must also love, because who do you enjoy love from? Those whom you love. Those whom you love, that's who you enjoy love from. So God's not just sitting up there with his flute and everybody, but he's also, and I remember Arjuna Prabhu in New York, he really liked this one phrase in one class that came up in a Bhagavad Gita purport, said, it's so sweet. Krishna is responsive. He's responsive. So Maharaj Parikshit heard that Lord Krishna Vishnu is universally obeyed. Out of his causeless mercy, rendered all kinds of service to the malleable sons of Pandu. The Lord accepted posts ranging from chariot driver to president, to messenger, friend, and night watchman, according to the will of the Pandavas, obeying them like a servant, and offering obeisances like one younger in years. When Maharaj Parikshit heard this, he became overwhelmed with devotion to lotus feet of the Lord, end quote. The verse spoken here by Hanuman does not explicitly mention the friendship between Krishna and Pandavas, because all their exchanges were effects of this underlying relationship. Okay, we'll do one more verse for today. Kimva sasneha kartayat tesham nar chadati prabhu sevā-saubhāgya-hetoś priyatvam tad ayonyam bhati mishritam. And his affectionate concern for them, what would the Lord not do? So Narad is looking for the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy. Look how much love Krishna had for the Pandavas. He was seen taking the combined roles of their servant, companion, and dearmost friend, and they took the same roles for him. Commentary: for the Pandavas, Krishna tolerated Bhishma's attacking and wounding him. For the Pandavas, Krishna broke his promise not to fight at Kurukshetra. In fact, for the Pandavas, Krishna would do anything. But a skeptic might ask, quote, although God is kind to all his creatures and certainly can be friendly to his devotees, why should he demean himself by trusting ordinary mortals and acting as their servant? Here, Hanuman resolves such doubts. Krishna's various service for the Pandavas was not a superficial show, but was expression of his true feelings. He was not at one moment posing as a friend, but unwilling to serve. At another moment, appearing willing to serve, but not showing friendship. At another moment, making a show of friendship without genuine concern. And in another, showing loving concern, but not actually being a friend. Such inconsistent reciprocations are seen in material life, where there is no true love. Krishna's dealing with the Pandavas, however, was always free of duplicity, and the feelings were mutual. The Pandavas were ready to sacrifice anything for the happiness of Krishna. So Narada is now, he feels like, wow, this is really something. Look at this reciprocal relationship. There's such a deep mutual regard. They're willing to do anything for them. So okay, I think for today, I've exhausted my realization. Jamuna Jaya, anything today you
Yes. Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for class. That last part almost brought me to tears. Hi everybody. Oh, wish I was there. Hey guys. Um, that that Krishna is so consistent with his love. I love that last part that you were just reading. That is not like and so often in material life we're like, oh yes, I care, but then we don't care, or we make a show of caring and it's not within our heart. But Krishna is never like that. And there's a song I've been listening to a lot. I don't know if you know who the singer CeCe Winan is. She's a gospel singer. I-
But let me
yeah,
inform. Go
yeah.
ahead, yeah.
So she is a beautiful song where she says,
What's her
I
name?
love you.
C what?
CeCe Winan. CeCe Winan.
How do you spell her last name?
Winnan.
Okay, CC Winan, yeah. And what's the
Yeah.
song?
And she is a song where the first lyric is, I love you, Lord, because your mercy never fails me. And it's such a beautiful song. And I was thinking of that when you were reading that last part, that Krishna's mercy never fails us. And we often fail Krishna because we're inconsistent in our devotion. So it's just really, really just that last part was really just so beautifully unpacked.
Right. Yeah. When there's true love, it just manifests in every aspect. When it's mixed with material considerations, it won't be consistent because it's mixed from things that you want for yourself. And bhakti means anya bilashita shunyam, no other desire. And why should it be any less? If love is the highest pleasure, then the highest consciousness is the greatest sacrifice. Like a mother, that's why Prabhupada said, in the material world, like a mother for their child. And it's a beautiful thing because they'll sacrifice anything. And great souls are like that relationship to God.
Mm.
There's nothing to trying. There's nothing. Wait 1 second. Yeah, I think that's Krishna's father. I guess he made a statement. I guess when he had to, it was so difficult for him, the things he had to do. He had to give the kids back to Kamsa. He said, for a man of character, there's nothing too difficult in the execution of their duty. Okay. Thanks, Jumanajaya. Anybody else like to share reflection?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev.
I got Gail here first, and then Jai Shirati. Gail, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Well, one thing, Jamuna Jaya, she's my CC Winans guru. So I do encourage you to check her out. She's like amazing. Anyway.
Okay, everybody, CC Winan.
CC Winans. She's
we're gonna
amazing.
play it after this.
And in my opinion, she's like, she is such a devotee. If anyway, yeah, good stuff. I do have a couple of things, Maharaj. Let's see. Devotees. Oh, you were saying that, an Uttama Adhikari, right? They see everybody as serving Krishna better than themselves, right? And then you said because they see Krishna everywhere. So I couldn't connect those two things.
Gail, you're relentless. Anytime I make something else up, you call me on it. give me a little space. let me rephrase that. That phrase. I'm just trying because I'm trying to figure it out where it says that they're serving. And I think I threw that in, but I think the general idea is devotion makes you humble. Feeling mercy makes you humble. And it affects your vision. You become what they say is you become liberal with others and strict with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the greatest answer, Gail, but I'll think about it. But
Okay, then therefore,
I was trying to reconcile that. I myself, I had to give a reason for it that I want to think about that. Why someone who's very advanced, Uttama Adhikari, is seeing everyone serving Krishna. Yeah, let me think about that.
well,
Okay.
your disciple, Ek Chakra Prabhu, he once told me that, it's just because they're, they're thinking with their emotions. It's not like a rational thing. It's like out of.
Well, yeah, well, that's what I was trying to say, from their heart. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so can I get another one just to like make up for that one?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
when you
One
said,
more.
well, yeah, one more. Devotees never perish. So you gave one explanation that, their words never perish, but what does that really mean otherwise, other than their words?
It means that Krishna is always protecting his devotees. Neha bhikramanashosti pratyavayo navidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, there's no loss or diminution. It's eternal. It doesn't mean necessarily the body, but God protects his devotees. He protects when you're surrendered to Krishna, he protects you. And what is he protecting? He's protecting your soul, your devotion, your spiritual platform. And it's never lost, whatever you have.
Yeah, whatever progress you've made, he protects that.
He protects that. And he's always protecting. He's always there. If you never lose when you're a devotee, but not on the bodily platform, because we know some devotees got murdered or something, but it's on a spiritual platform.
Yeah, he protects the
in other words,
elevation.
God is always there. He's always for us. He's always there. Yeah.
He protects our elevation of consciousness. Is that?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Okay, Gail, you know what Jamuna wrote on the notes?
No.
Gail Darkon with an exclamation point.
Oh, Brother John.
So you can take it up with her. Okay, anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Gurudev.
Jai Shri Radhe, Haribo.
Thank you so much for your class. I just wanted to say that your phrase about the supremacy of God is not in his position, it's his personality. Really,
Yeah, I like that too. That's interesting.
And also, my question from the last class, if I may ask it.
Go ahead.
So the Hanuman, he's separated from Lord currently when he's speaking with Narada Muni, but you're saying that the separation from God, it's not physical, it's only in our consciousness. Can you please explain, is Hanuman really separated from God?
It's not in consciousness. It's only physical. What I'm explaining is God is there in our love. God is everywhere. God appears personally to his devotees. So technically there may be separation on the manifest platform, but internally there can't be separation.
Right.
There can't be separation. Where is God? And I gave that example that I think one German philosopher said, where there is no circumference, the center is everywhere. That's the story of Bṛhad. Is God in this pillar? He's there in that pillar. He manifests. We're only separated by our devotion. So there is separation. But on another level, it brings you closer. Because in separation, the object that is before you then manifests in your heart.
Right.
Which is one of the reasons, according to Lok Pramana, village talk, why Krishna left Vrindavan. Because in Prem Sarovara, he saw that Radharani when Krishna said to the bee, to Madhu Mangal, his friend, chase away the bee, and he chased away the bee, and then he said, Madhu is gone. And Radharani, the abode of love and emotion, it struck her, Krishna is gone. She started crying, even though she was sitting on Krishna's lap. But then Krishna saw that now he entered into her heart. So it was, in one sense, even deeper, even closer. And that's going to come up in the later chapters, why Krishna didn't go back to Vrindavan, had to be reconciled. Because in that mood of separation, it says that Krishna not only appears in one's heart, he appears before one at the same time. And that's only in Vrindavan where there's this intense separation, because the relationships are so spontaneous and intimate. They're so spontaneous and intimate that love, Krishna is not confined spatio-temporal by space and time. He's not subject to that. So where is he? He's everywhere. Where does he appear? He appears to the devotee's love. Okay, thank you, Jai Shri Radhe.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Okay, anybody else like to say hello before we?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Jai Kishori, Haribo, we should touch base.
Yeah, I would like that very much. Thank you. I did want to say that it really struck me when you said sort of when something like when God wants to give you a realization, it's worth any difficulty that you have to go through in order to get it. Or something like that, unless I missed.
I said that. That's exactly what I said. And when you live a life of devotion and you look back on your life and you led a life of Dharma and you look back on your life and you see any difficulties that you had, and you look, well, I have this realization that brings me to a higher level of consciousness and happiness. It wouldn't be there without that. So so in one sense, looking back, we can be thankful.
Yeah.
Well, we should contact sometime this week, okay?
Thank you very much. Yeah, hurry both.
Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, this is Krishna-katha. Thank you so much. I was really struck with this explanation that Krishna serves his devotees because he loves them, and this is his subordinate position, and this is love, and he enjoys, and it's the greatest pleasure. So to be in this subordinate position.
So much. That's so nice.
Thank you.
Okay, a few
Hare
more people.
Krishna, Maharaj, Sivat.
Hey, Hare Krishna, nice to see you. Thank you for coming.
Eileen, who's a great devotee.
Who's this?
Who's joining today. Eileen.
Eileen, nice to see you. Thanks for coming for class.
Thank you so much for your class. Your talks always bring me to right size because, I realize how my ego can come out even in my service. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you for your talk today.
Great. It's great to see you on, Yvette. Really. Great. Okay. Okay. One more person, and then I'm going to head out and listen to CC Winner.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Oh,
Krishna.
hey. Okay, so Lal and
Hare Krishna.
okay. Now,
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Bhakti Devi swimming down the streets of of New York City.
Hi, everybody. Brooklyn,
Okay.
Vrindavan.
Okay.
Bye,
Okay.
Maharaj.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Haribo. Good. Nice to see you. I see you have a
Hare Krishna
Sundari.
Maharaj. Thank you very
Haribo.
much for the class.
Thank you
you.
so much. Haribo.
Thank you.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Good.
Thank you, Maharaj. Missed you.
Hey, Samantha. Long time no see.
I
Good to see
know, too long. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Haribo.
Haribol Maharaj, good morning. Thank you for class.
Oh, Gabby, nice to hear from you. Thanks for coming on.
I really appreciate what you said about patience and bhakti because we tend to do minimum efforts expecting big results. So it really hit me. Thank you very much.
Nice realization. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Hare Krishna. Thank you very
Amala,
much.
great to see you. Good.
Hare Krishna.
Very well. It's a nice medium that you have to use, otherwise before it was so difficult, I'm here, disciples are there, but now I can speak to them and see them. It's really great. Okay. One more person. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Tota Gopinath here. So great to hear from you.
Okay, Tota. Haribo.
Haribo.
Okay. Vanchakalpa Turubhyasya.